Hello and welcome back to Jessie Bear Book Club. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different and I want to talk about the first time I got into Philippa Gregory and how it happened and how it went. Well, the first Philippa Gregory book I ever read was The Other Boleyn Girl, like a lot of people, but mine happened. I used to go to extra tuition after school a couple of times a week, and my tutor was a really lovely lady. She knew I was super into history, so she used to pick out particular history books for me to read, and she knew I was especially keen on medieval history. And she produced this book, and she's like, oh, you should try reading this. So I was like, okay, no problem. So The Boleyn Girl, never heard of it. Had never really learned anything about Tudor history at that point because I had moved schools so many times. I kind of missed out on chunks of that sort of stuff. So I started reading it. I was waiting for my mum to pick me up. And I was like, ooh, I was hooked. First page, I was hooked. And read all about the execution of the Duke of Buckingham. My mum came to pick me up. And then I was in Mercadona in Spain, the supermarket, and we were pushing a trolley around the supermarket. Well, I was, while my mum was doing stuff, but I was trying to read the book while pushing the trolley, and I nearly pushed it into all these eggs. I was like, okay, I need to stop reading. But it's quite funny because I was only 15. And I read the book in less than a week, and then probably about day 5 after getting the book, my tutor called and I lifted up the phone and she's like, oh Jessica, I didn't think this all the way through. I probably shouldn't have given you that book because there's some smut in it. And I was like, oh, well, there's a bit of a problem, Cynthia. I finished it. And every now and again when I'm in Spain, I go to visit her and she always laughs about that. Then I got really hooked on Tudor history and I started watching The Tudors. I know, not very historically accurate, but it was all I could get my hands on. And I went over to my friend's house and I realised that her mum had a copy of The Boleyn Inheritance, which I borrowed. Well, she gave it to me after I started reading it, and devoured that again and really, really liked it. And I was looking things up on the internet, and well, we didn't have internet at home, so whenever I went to my stepdad's work, I would look it up on the internet, or when I was at my stepbrother's house, I would look everything up and be obsessive, and I was like reading the encyclopedia to find out everything I could about the Boleyns. And then my adopted brother, he had some friends who were moving back to England, so we went to his house and he had all these books, and he was like, okay, have a look through the books because I'm going to take them to the charity shop. But before I do that, maybe you guys would like to pick something out. And I found Philippa Gregory's A Respectable Trade. Not her best work, I'll admit, but again, I devoured it. And during this time, I'd also kind of been introduced to Elizabeth Chadwick, and I was reading some other historical novels, but I was a big Philippa Gregory nut. And I was watching The Tudors. And then I came over to Ireland to visit my dad, and I got a copy of The Wise Woman, and I loved it. I still love that book. I know it is cheesy and stupid and over the top, but I really like it. I don't know why, it was a certain time in my life I read it and it just stuck with me. Sometimes that happens. And then my mum, I went back to Spain, and of course I was rereading my Philippa Gregory books at this point, and my mum had to go to England for some work, and when she came back she brought me a copy of The Virgin's Lover, The Queen's Fool, and The Constant Princess. And I read all of them. I think I read The Queen's Fool first, and I thought it was okay. I don't really like Philippa Gregory's tomboy thing. She does sometimes. I mean, it's all right, but it's not really me. I liked The Virgin's Lover, but I would have preferred it from Elizabeth's perspective. And I loved The Constant Princess. I think it was because I grew up in Spain. I was living in Spain at the time when I read it, and it just, so much of it echoed with me. Especially, you know, then when I moved back to Ireland and the way she feels. And I remember at one point I was doing a Christmas fair with my parents and it was freezing and we were setting up and I was reading The Constant Princess, and the place we were doing the fair was a place me and my mum used to live. So I took a thermos of tea and my sandwiches and disappeared into the stables, and I climbed up into the hayloft and I lay up there and finished reading The Constant Princess, and my mum and my stepdad were so mad at me because I'd just gone missing for half the day. But I really liked it. It's a really nice memory, and I really did enjoy Philippa Gregory. Then I got a copy of The Other Queen, and I didn't like it. I still don't like it. I don't think it's the best book. I like Bess of Hardwick. I don't really like the rest of the book, unfortunately, but it is what it is. It's in the collection. And then, and I've been looking forward to this book because I've been reading about it on Philippa Gregory's website. I was in the secondhand bookshop in Savanias, and there it was, The White Queen, brand new, bought from Jib, and it was €10, and I only had €8. And I was looking at it and I was like, oh my god, I need to buy this book, I need to buy this book. There was only one copy, and I knew if I didn't buy it, it was gonna not be there the next day when I came down. So what an only time I've haggled with someone in a shop over a book. And I still feel bad about it, and next time I was in, I gave them the €2, but they gave it to me and I read it and I loved it. And one of the best things about The White Queen is I read it right before I did my GCSE in English literature, and we did Richard III. And I always felt that reading The White Queen right before I did my English literature exam about Richard III really helped. Got an A star on that. And I'd like to say thank you to Philippa Gregory for that one, because I believe that book was highly instrumental in me completely understanding Shakespeare's story. I then thought I would read Acre, just because it was another Philippa Gregory book. Even though it wasn't really a time period I was interested in, the 17th century, I thought I would give it a go. No, 18th century, my bad. And I really loved it. I mean, I think I read it in a weekend. I showed it to everyone. And I'd even say still, you know, over 10 years later, if you want to read like a dirty book, read Acre. I really loved it. I mean, it's a stupid bodice ripper, but it's still really good for a stupid bodice ripper. And then I read, of course, The Favourite Child, which I really enjoyed. And then I read Meriden. I don't really like Meriden. Again, I don't like the tomboy thing that Philippa Gregory does with some of her characters sometimes. It's not me. I don't like it. But, you know, so what? I then read The Red Queen as it came out and enjoyed that. I read the rest of her books kind of as they came out, one by one, until we got to The Last Tudor, about Jane Grey and Catherine Grey, and I just kind of lost hope with her. I mean, I kind of think after The Kingmaker's Daughter, I kind of thought her writing went slowly downhill. There was less going on. I hated The King's Curse, and I really didn't like the Catherine Parr books she did. I didn't feel like her heart was in them. I didn't feel like they were as moving. Like, she wrote them with real passion for the story. She wrote them, I feel, because she could make money off them. And I don't knock the hustle. I mean, people bought them. I bought them. It worked. But after that, I kind of stopped for a while. Oh, I forgot to mention I read Fallen Skies. I think I read Fallen Skies before I read Acre. Yeah, I did. Also really like Fallen Skies, but I've only read that the once. I think I should really read it again. I've got it downstairs. But back onto subject, I kind of gave Philippa Gregory a break after The Last Tudor. It wasn't for me anymore. But I recently picked up Tidelands, which I started reading I think about a week ago, and I'm enjoying it so far. I think this is Philippa Gregory almost getting back to her roots. You know, I feel the wise woman in there. I feel a bit of earthly joys in there with some of the descriptions of the land. And I'm going to see how it goes. I know Dark Tides is out, and I think there's a third one coming out, so I'm going to keep going. And there will be a review of this at some point up on my channel. I also really enjoyed watching The White Queen, which I think I've got a review of The White Queen and The White Princess and The Spanish Princess up here, and y'all know my thoughts about that, and the other Boleyn Girl movie. Bad thoughts, don't like it at all. But let me know how you got into Philippa Gregory, because I always think it's really interesting to find out how somebody gets into an author, and especially when they read all their books kind of one after the other. It means you love them and you always have an opinion about their early work and their later work. So let me know how you got into her, or if there's any other historical authors you became obsessed with as a teenager like I did. And remember to like, comment and subscribe for more historical fiction. I also have a playlist dedicated to my reviews of Philippa Gregory stuff and some little fan theories about Acre. You can also follow me on Instagram at Lady Jessica Riddell. Until next time, bye!